So my name is Wen. I'm the founder, chairman, as well as CEO of the company Windrose. Our goal is very simple, which is we'd like to electrify trucking globally.
Your battery is around 730 kilowatts, I think. That's a big battery, isn't it? Welcome, Wen Han. Great to catch up with you. You're here in Europe. I believe you're in Antwerp in Belgium. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm reading lots about you and your company. And like many things I've seen in EV land over the last decade, 2 decades, lots of promise, lots of fanfare. But what we've seen all too often is a bit of disappointment, overpromise, under delivery. So I'm going to quiz you, if I may, as a kind of like a speed date thing on a few things sort of quite quickly, if that's okay, about 10 minutes. Is that all right to do that with you?
Great. Looking forward to it.
Great. Okay. Well, look, large electric trucks. I want to see them. I had a journey with a smaller electric truck many years ago, 2007, little company called Modec. And I think commercial EV fleets, vans, trucks, taxis, buses, we need them as soon as possible. So tell me a little bit more about, or as an intro for people that don't know, what Windrose is all about.
Sure. So my name is Wen. I'm the founder, chairman, as well as CEO of the company Windrose. Our goal is very simple, which is we'd like to electrify trucking globally. So we start by designing our battery electric truck. And today we have put the trucks on the road or received orders from 4 continents. That is Asia, United States, or the Americas, Europe, primarily Belgium and other markets, as well as Oceania, which is Australia and New Zealand. So what we do is we try to make a global platform that's synchronized for all major markets. And we believe that is the fastest way to develop a clean slate, completely redesigned or new designed truck, and also make that truck be able to deploy globally as quickly as possible to really bring down emissions generated by long-haul trucks. So that's what we do.
Great. That's a nice summary. So let's get into the kind of detail of that then. So obviously I've read a few things, looked at a few things. Your battery is around 730 kilowatts, I think. That's a big battery, isn't it?
Yes.
Who makes the battery and what's the chemistry?
Yeah, so today we work with actually several battery cell suppliers and as well as our battery pack contract manufacturing partners. We design the battery pack ourselves, which is a modular design that can actually be scaled to both the 730-ish kilowatt hour version, but also smaller versions for shorter range use cases. So again, we own the design, which is part of our 250 patent portfolio. The suppliers are today Chinese battery cell suppliers. They're both our 2 suppliers are both within the top 2 in China, which is actually top 4 in China and also top 10 globally. The most notable is a company called CALB. So CALB is actually bigger than Samsung in volume, and it's a Hong Kong listed company, and they supply battery cells to not only Windrose, but many of the top passenger car and commercial vehicle businesses globally.
Great. Now, charging. This is always the other side of any electric vehicle proposition is how can you charge, when can you charge? So your journey towards, because everybody's on the same journey, megawatt charging, how's that going? What's the proposition for charging as it stands and your ambition over the next 3 months and years?
Yeah, so our charging philosophy is much like our product philosophy, which is to make it global, which is to make it compatible with many platforms, and of course to make sure we're at the forefront of capacity and design. So those 3 things are important. So one is being global. So today we support charging with CCS1, which is commonly in the United States, CCS2, which is a European standard, and also the GB standard, which is a Chinese standard. So today we have designs or configurations for all 3 key systems. We will also expand that into something like the Chatamo system, which is more of a Japanese um, version. So that's being global. Being compatible is also important. So today we have two plugs on two inlets, one on each side. So the dual plug design enables us to actually use two different chargers at the same time. So if you don't have a super fast one, but you have two, which many of our logistics customers do, if they have multiple, in fact, we can be plugging into the truck at the same time. Compatibility also means we're compatible with effectively most, if not all, of the existing charging providers. So, for example, we've tested the truck against over 100 public charging stations, 100. And they include brands that are like Total, Shell, ABB in charge. They include, so these are operators as well as brand equipment makers. In China, we've tested over 66 public chargers. And it spans basically the spectrum of all major and sometimes even small charging providers as well as operators. So this way we show, again, China, United States, and Europe, over 100 public chargers. We have actually real world use these chargers. So anytime our customer needs to charge the truck on the highway or near the highway, we can generally say on any major routes in Europe, United States, and China, we can find your charger that we've already been to. Right. At the same time, even more importantly, our two inlet design enables MCS on one side and traditional CCS1, CCS2, or GB on the other side. So let's say you're a customer who needs to stop at different charging stops given your route. One of the stops only has MCS charging, which is rare, but that could happen. And the other ones only have CCS1 or 2 or GB standards. We're able to then provide compatibility with both of these scenarios. So you don't have to really be planning for betting on a single charging protocol. We can provide compatibility with all.
Got it. That sounds pretty comprehensive. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and lastly, I think, which is also important, we need to stay at the forefront of the highest power charging there is. So in China, for example, we've worked with BorgWarner, which is an American automotive supplier of over 100 years of its history is as old as the automotive itself. Yeah. And BorgWarner and we have put into operation the world's first actually operational in production megawatt level charger. So it's not based on the MCS yet, but it's based on our two inlet design. The combined power can be up to 960 kilowatts. And we've tested that with our customer Decathlon. So I'm actually wearing the Decathlon jersey, which also sponsors our basketball team, hence the noise you're hearing. And we've proven to the world that even before the MCS, you can use just standard DC charging combined with two inlets to get to nearly megawatt level. So again, being global, being compatible, and being really the best and fastest in production. These are the three key things that make our charging, I think, ready and today for our customers. So supply chain, you cannot do without. Experience, you cannot do without.
Yeah.
On top of those two things, we have our innovation and nimbleness as a new company. So I think that's how we do it.
How long will it be if you are successful, and you sound very confident that you will be successful, that we'll see dozens, hundreds, thousands of your trucks on the road? Within 10 years, 5 years, 3 years?
Delivering 10,000 trucks is not that crazy. Ability to just work much more quickly and much more focused than, frankly, our competitors.
Here's a question for you. What we're seeing with electric vehicles, cars, I suppose I'm talking about mainly, is a lot of people who are startups are faster, they're more agile. And I think with a few notable exceptions, people have made a few mistakes and they're not here anymore. There are now companies really coming to the fore quite spectacularly. In your market, in the truck market, you have some of the biggest and best companies in terms of best long-term respect, delivery, performance. I'm not going to go through the names of the companies, but everybody will know who we're talking about. How can you come along from nowhere and deliver to customers a vehicle which will work in the long term, be utterly reliable? Because as I'm sure, as you know, with your trials, you're working with people, the fundamental for any commercial operator is you don't stop working. The wheels keep turning, you have reliability. How can you give people confidence that somebody they've never heard of until quite recently is going to be able to sustain that sort of performance?
Yeah, I think we're only 2.5 years old as a company, which, like you said, rightfully, generally people would view us as a very newcomer and unfamiliar name. Myself as a young and unfamiliar face, me being 34 years old. So what we do is this: we combine the readiness and maturity of our supply chain, which is today primarily in China, as well as our experience, which is myself coming from an autonomous trucking background, working with the world's best truck OEMs before, as well as my partner, who's delivered over 200,000 trucks in his previous career as the CEO of China's sixth biggest truck maker. So these two things combined, together with our, as you mentioned, our rapid design cycle, our ability to just work much more quickly and much more focused than, frankly, our competitors. So in terms of our supply chain, every one of our 100 or so suppliers is generally either a listed company, has already supplied to top truck makers, China and globally, or has been supplying parts to other passenger car or bus companies globally. So take, for example, one of our contract manufacturing partners is a company called Suzhou Higer. Suzhou Higer is also a partner of Scania's. And they've worked with Scania for years, developing the world's best buses. Higer is also known as China's second biggest exporter of buses. So if you think about the bus business, is really today dominated by Chinese EV bus producers. Yeah. And Higer is the second largest, as well as one of the top. Yeah. If you look at our battery suppliers, you've already touched on it. CALB is the world's top, actually the world's number 6 in volume, and China's number 3. And so CALB has delivered batteries for millions of cars, right? So our supply chain really, in fact, is much more mature than ourselves as a company. So we're lucky for that. Yeah. Combined with that, we have today 100 R&D professionals. 80% of these people have been in the trucking business for at least 8 years. Okay. So I like to say that I walk around the office. I am always going to be the least experienced person in trucking because everyone has at least 3 to 4 years on me, and that's great because I'm lucky to be joined by these truly world-class experts in trucking. So supply chain, you cannot do without. Experience, you cannot do without. Yeah. On top of those two things, we have our innovation and nimbleness as a new company. So I think that's how we do it. Not only by ourselves. That is definitely not possible at all.
Well, look, as one thing I think we probably share in common as a philosophy is that, what's the phrase? Well, together everyone achieves more. It's an acronym, isn't it? TEAM, team. So yes, if you work on that principle in terms of within a business, as well as with your supply chain partners, and indeed across border, and to take away this, China versus whatever, America versus Europe, whatever it might be, collectively find the best resources that you have, best suppliers, best people, bring them together, put them together, and then you can deliver things that it would seem you're now delivering with great success. Because I read about the trials you're running, I can see the payload you're getting. We're not going to go through all of that now, but it would appear to me that real world customers who are trying out your product are getting good results. So, you've got to be able to sustain that. Obviously, it's not a question of doing it once over and over again, but, over long distances, long range, heavily, fully laden vehicles, then that's the way to do it. Look, there's so much more we could talk about, but I'm not going to do that now because I'm really grateful you've given me sort of 10, 12, 15 minutes of your time. I'd love to talk to you again because clearly there's a lot to talk about. But let me ask you this question then as a kind of concluding thought. How long will it be if you are successful, and you sound very confident that you will be successful, that we'll see dozens, hundreds, thousands of your trucks on the road within 10 years, 5 years, 3 years?
I think it's never possible to predict the future with high certainty, so I shouldn't try to do that. I will share with you what our customers are saying to us. So today we work with almost half of the world's top 15 largest third-party transportation providers whom we've done testing with or will be doing testing with. And each one of them has in their fleet several thousand trucks at least. So I know for all of them, they'd like to replace their entire fleet with electric zero-emission trucks very soon. Which means there are tens of thousands of trucks that are waiting to be replaced with zero-emission trucks. And so for us, the question really is how fast can our supply meet the demand of our customers? And we also hope that our competitors can also speed up their developments, their deployments, because the faster this industry grows, the better it is for all of the players in the EV trucks business. Yeah. Now, internally and externally, we've set a target for 10,000 trucks in 2027. That year.
Yeah.
And that's an aggressive target, but if you think about the supply chain readiness in China, if you think about our experience of the team, delivering 10,000 trucks is not that crazy. And I believe we have a lot more to do after the 10,000 trucks. So, I think the volume is not the most difficult thing. The question is how to make the markets trust our product, how to really meet all the high expectations, and now they're higher and higher, and do a good job in delivering.
Great. Okay, look, Wen, that's fantastic. I'm around and about over the next few months here and there at events where people are helping get the minerals together to build the batteries, where people are talking about the disruption in energy, many things there. I'm up in Canada talking about that with various people around the world. So I'm definitely going to feed into some of what you've told me with them, and maybe then we can share a few thoughts, exchange a few ideas, etc. along the way. But now, thank you for your time. And I do like your ambition. I like your enthusiasm and passion. And if the rest of the team are like you, I think you're going to do pretty well. So well done. Nice to meet you. Talk again soon.
Thank you.